So the Lord told us that August was going to be breakthrough month, and breakthrough it was. We're not content to just get a breakthrough and go back to the way it was, or to take new territory just to give it back. We don't want to just visit the next level, but we want to live there. So we're going to learn how to live on the next level. This is Next Level Living.
Well, my name is Cody White. I am the pastor of our youth here, of the student ministries here called 1-7, and I absolutely love it. So if you have, shout out. I love them. They're crazy. They're crazy. I love them. So if you've never heard me speak before, I just want to let you know that please don't mistake my passion for my youth, okay? I'm passionate because I believe that God gave me a word for this morning, and you're already with me. I can feel it. I'm ready to preach this morning, and because this isn't a monologue, this is a dialogue, right? So if I'm preaching good, I need you to let me know, okay? I need an amen. I need to preach that white boy. It's not racist. It's my last name, okay? My last name's White. So that's racist. No, it's not. I don't care. But how many of you know that God wants to speak to you? God wants to speak to you, and He will do anything and everything to speak to you. He'll use anything to speak to you. He speaks to me a lot while I'm driving down the road in my truck. That's why my driving record is kind of crazy. But He'll use anything to speak to you. And I was just in South Africa with my grandfather, and he came. He was my bodyguard. I introduced him as my bodyguard everywhere. And my mom said, you need a new bodyguard if your bodyguard is an old man. But I said, hey, you get what you pay for. So, but he came with me. Shout out to all the grandparents, by the way. Y'all are amazing. Come on. So my grandfather and I, we went to South Africa. My dad was there. It was amazing. And in the airport, did you know that God will even speak to you in an airport? He'll use anything and everything to speak to you. So I'll never forget, I was in DFW. I had my suitcase, and I walked up to the doors, and the doors were closed. And I thought, that's kind of weird. The doors are closed. And I began to move, and I stepped in a certain position, and the doors opened. And then it was crazy. God was doing miracles in the airport. And so then I went to the bathroom. I did my business. And then the toilet flushed by itself. It was a miracle. And then I began to wash my hands. Some of y'all need to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. I began to wash my hands, and I thought, what kind of ghetto bathroom is this? It ain't got no knobs. Like, what is this? And then I put my hands underneath it, but water began to flow. And then I did the same with the soap, and then I waved my hands like this, and paper towels began to fall out. And it was awesome. God was doing miracles in the airport. See, some of y'all are saying, Cody, God wasn't doing miracles in the airport. The airport is just motion activated. Well, to you, that's not a miracle. But to me, that's a miracle because my God was speaking to me in every single one of the moments. And my God said, see, I'm kind of like the airport. I said, how are you kind of like the airport? He said, because I'm a motion activated God. See, and it was interesting to me that the airport is motion activated, but I still had to put myself in the right position. So whenever I put myself in the right position, doors begin to open. And he said, I'm kind of like that. Whenever you put yourself in the right position, doors will begin to open. And blessings will begin to flow like the water under the faucet. And come on, I need somebody to help me. And goodness and righteous joy and peace will begin to flow in your life. And I'll begin to provide like I provided paper towels for you in the airport. See, the question isn't, is God speaking? The question is, are you listening? And are you willing to put yourself in a position to hear from Him? So y'all are the smart class. Y'all get extra points because you're here. You've put yourself in a position to hear from God. You showed up this morning, and by doing that, God wants to activate something in your life because you chose to put yourself in the correct position. Ooh, that's good right there. So, Father, I thank you for this morning. I thank you that you want to move because you're a motion-activated God. And I thank you for my family here this morning. I thank you for my family listening online, that they've put themselves in a position to hear from you. And they can hear from a crazy young preacher, that they can hear through anything. Father, I thank you that this morning it's not me speaking, it's you. I thank you that you have things for all of us. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. So the title of my message this morning is Making Sense of Change. Making sense of change. You get it? I thought that was kind of clever. I think David laughed. Making sense of change. See? You're slow, but you're worth waiting on. So, but who's ready to live on the next level? Who's ready to live on the next level? See, I believe that there's some people that want to live on the next level, but to live on the next level, some things have to change. See, change is not fun. We don't like the word change. See, when I was a kid, my parents used to always say, yeah, Cody doesn't like change. Cody doesn't like change. Well, first of all, why are you putting that label on me, okay? Second of all, I don't like change. Change sucks, okay? Why'd you move the couch? Why'd you change my room? Why? I don't like change. I like things that the way they are. But if you want to progress, you have to change. If you want to progress, you have to change. So next level living means we're progressing, and progress does not come without change. We are all a work in progress, and progress does not come without change, and change is coming. Change is here whether you like it or not. See, the seasons dictate that a lot. You know, the weather outside is changing. Football is happening. Come on, some good change. You know, I'm rooting for my Cowboys tonight, just like David. We're going to defeat the giant. You know what I'm saying? You got to like you a church joke. But change is here, whether you like it or not. Your kids are going back to school. You got soccer practice. You got to pick up your son from football practice and his stinky pads and stinky equipment. It changes here, whether you like it or not. So whether you like it or not, change is here. But it's up to you how much you maximize your change. It's up to you to maximize the level of change you want to see in your life. So there are a few things that come when you try to really change. And I believe in Nehemiah this morning, we can look at some principles that we see there. So we're picking up the story, and for 120 years, this wall has been in ruins, okay? The wall has been in ruins, and Nehemiah is a cupbearer for the king. So, side note, I want to be a cupbearer for my king. I want to be a cupbearer for my king. See, a cupbearer was trusted. You couldn't be a cupbearer without being trusted, because they would drink his drink before the king drank it to make sure that it wasn't poisoned. So I want to be a cupbearer for my King Jesus, and I want to be somebody he can trust. So Nehemiah was a cupbearer for the king, and he asks if he can go to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. So he hears that this wall is in ruins, and he asks the king, he says, yo, king, can I go and help out this wall? It needs to be rebuilt, and the king lets him go. And so whenever he goes back, he takes the entire community. He gets everybody, and he gets them all together. He says, let's rebuild this wall. It was kind of like Extreme Home Makeover, you know, move that bus, Ty. You know, Nehemiah was like, what's his name, Ty? Ty, he's like, it's better than that, because he got everybody to come together to build this wall. So for the next level, for him to experience next level living, he had to build something. He had to build something. So he rallies all his people together, but in the process of the wall being built, in the process of change, some things happen. So I believe that all of us need to change in some type of way. I believe we all need some type of change. If you say, I don't need any change, well, you need to change your attitude and your pride, because we all need to change in some type of way. And to live on the next level, that requires change. Many of us are coming out of a season maybe of addiction, and we say that we want to change, right? Maybe some of us, we have some real bad habits, and we say we don't like those habits anymore, and we want to change. Some of us are making relationship changes, and we realize that not everybody that is good to you is good for you, and so you realize I need to make some changes. I need to make some changes. We almost failed every class last year. I got to make some changes. My kids are acting crazy. I need to make some changes. But if we're not careful, we will not see the change. See, I realize that not everybody that wants change sees the change happen. See, it's not up to wanting it, because hopefully we all want some change. But not everybody that wants change will see it happen. Everybody who wants to get skinny doesn't. Everybody who wants to get the promotion won't. Everybody that wants to get out of debt won't. Everybody that wants to fix their marriage won't. Everybody who wants all A's in that 4.0, it won't happen, because, well, watch. Everybody wants to follow Jesus, but not everybody will. Can I be real this morning? Because wanting it isn't bad enough. We have to do some things, and we have to realize there's certain things that we have to do on our side of it to see that change happen. So Nehemiah 4:1-3 says this. Sanballat, I'm going to call him Sanb. Sanb was very angry when he learned that we were rebuilding the wall. Sanb was very angry when he learned that we were rebuilding the wall. I'm going to stop real quick. Not everybody is going to cheer on your change. Not everybody's going to say, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad you're doing that. I'm so glad that you want to change. Not everybody's going to cheer on your change. Not everybody's going to be excited for you. Not everybody's going to want to see. Not everybody's going to be excited about the same thing you're building. Oh, this is good. He flew into a rage and mocked the Jews, saying in front of his friends and the Samaritan officers, what does this bunch of poor, feeble Jews think they're doing? Do they think they can build the wall in a single day by just offering a few sacrifices? Do you really think if you pray once, you're saved forever? Do you really think that you can make a change in your life? Do you really think that they can see this thing through? Do they actually think they can make something of stones from a rubbish heap, and charred ones at that? Do they really think they can make something of stones from a rubbish heap and charred ones? Isn't that the gospel? Isn't that what Jesus does? Doesn't he build something from broken things? Doesn't he make beautiful things from brokenness? Doesn't he take the brokenness in our life and use that to build something that promotes and shows the glory of God? Isn't that what our God does? Then you got Tobiah, the Ammonite, who was standing beside him. He chimed in. He said, that stone wall would collapse if even a fox walked along the top of it. That's like some old school dig, like some old school your mama. Like, yo, that wall would fall if a fox just went across it. You know what I'm saying, Sam B? And he's like all excited about it. Point number one is this: you don't get change without criticism. You don't get change without criticism. And some of us never see the change we want because every time somebody criticizes us, we quit. Oh, I wish somebody would. I'm going to say it over here. Some of us never see the change we want in our life because every time somebody criticizes us, we quit. Anytime somebody questions our change, we quit. Anytime someone says, oh, you saved now, you think you're going to act different, you quit. Anytime somebody criticizes or questions your change that you want to see in your life, you stop. And if we could just commit to saying, we don't care what the haters say, let them hate. I'm going to keep on doing what I got to do because this is what I need to do to see some change. Maybe we would actually see the change, but we're too busy. We're too busy listening to what other people have to think instead of listening to what God is telling us to do. Thank you. Watch this. People don't criticize you for doing nothing. They only start criticizing you when you decide that you need to make a change. Ooh, this is good. The moment you say something needs to change, I need to build something, that's when the haters come out to play. People who criticize are upset because you're doing what they're unwilling to do. They don't hate you. They hate what you're doing because you're doing what they are unwilling to do. They don't hate you as a person. They hate that you say, you know what, for next level living, I need to stop spending like crazy. So I'm going to cut back a little bit and I'm going to do what's right. And because you're making choices that they're unwilling to make, they hate that because you're living on a level that they're not living on. Nothing good comes without criticism. Now, I'm going to say this too. There's this thing called constructive criticism. That's not what I'm talking about. And constructive criticism is hard because it's still criticism. But we have to, every time someone criticizes us, we have to say, is this constructive? Is this trying to build me up or is this trying to break me down? And does this person have the best interests for me? Does this person know what they are talking about? Is this person led by the Spirit? Is this person, come on. Is this something I need to really take into consideration? Or are they just trying to tear me down because I'm doing stuff they're unwilling to do? See, people get upset when you go against the norm. People get upset when you go against the norm. Watch this. Tobiah and Sanballat weren't upset at Nehemiah. It's not that they hated Nehemiah. It's because they were upset because that wall had been in ruins for a long time and they were unwilling to pick it up. Oh, y'all didn't catch that. They weren't upset at Nehemiah. They were, Sanballat and Tobiah, they were upset because Nehemiah and his crew were willing to do something that they were unwilling to do, and they had walked by that wall for a long time. And because you're going against the norm, that wall has always been knocked down. That wall doesn't need to be built back up because you're going against the norm. That's what I don't like. I helped my roommate got married, and I helped with the wedding, and so I saw some friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it was amazing to me because I was excited to see these friends. And whenever I got there, they made fun of me the whole time. They, oh, you're a youth pastor now. Are you a youth pastor or a youth who pastors? You know, like they're making all these jokes. They're making fun of me. They were making fun of me for praying. They were making fun of me. And I had to realize that they're not making fun of me because they don't like me. They're making fun of me because I'm doing things that they're unwilling to do. And because I decided I don't want to live on that old level anymore, I want to live on the next level. Come on. I want to live on the next level. And because I want to live on the next level, that requires me to not do some stuff that I used to do and partake in the jokes I used to partake in and laugh at the stuff I used to laugh in. They said things like, Cody, you're not fun anymore. No. I just find different things fun. See, I not only have fun, I have joy. And you don't know this, but that joy is my strength. I wouldn't be able to live on this next level without the joy that I have. So you might not think I'm having fun anymore, but actually I'm having fun and I have joy because the joy of the Lord is my strength. And that's what gets me through the day. So I'm having fun. I'm just not having fun like I used to have fun. I have fun with my family at church. I have fun at Unhinged. I have fun eating and having community and having coffees and BYA. I'm having fun in a different way. So don't tell me I'm not having fun. You need to have the type of fun I'm having. See, your level of change is equal to the level of criticism you are willing to take. And if you're not being criticized on some level, you're probably not advancing. If there's somebody that doesn't like what you're doing and how you're living your life, you're probably not advancing. And I'm not saying go around making people mad. I'm saying naturally, when you say, I want to change, there's going to be some people that don't like that. Why don't you go out with us anymore? Well, I'm trying to change. I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to live on the next level. It's funny because we say we want to live like Jesus, but Jesus was crucified and criticized. It says in Matthew, it says that they said the Son of Man came eating and drinking, but they say here's a glutton, here's a fat dude and a drunkard. He gets drunk all the time, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her deeds. So they were criticizing him for stuff that he wasn't actually even doing, and for things that they were questioning his character. But wisdom is proved right by her deeds. So when people are criticizing you, saying you're not fun anymore, you don't come out with us anymore, you're boring now. No. You need to say, no. Wisdom will be proved right in her deeds. And one day when I'm on a level far away, you're going to say, yo, how did you get there? I want some of that. And you can say, well, come on. If you would stop criticizing you, I'll help bring you up to this next level with me. And we can do this thing. We can build something and we can see some real change. James 2:26 says this, just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works. What's that saying? It's saying if you want change, there must be an action to go with it. So you're going to do some stuff, some practical things that other people aren't going to like. And it's funny because they're not criticizing you for a lot of times. When you're changing, they're not criticizing you for doing anything bad. They're criticizing you for doing something good. But it's because you're unwilling, or they're unwilling to do what you're willing to do. Number 2, you don't get change without being challenged. You don't get change without being challenged. You're going to be criticized, but you're also going to be challenged. Nehemiah 4:6-8 says this, at last the wall was completed to half its height. It's halfway built around the entire city, for the people had worked with enthusiasm. But when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the work was going ahead and that the gaps in the wall of Jerusalem were being repaired, they were furious. They all made plans to come and fight against Jerusalem and throw us into confusion. The moment you try to change is the moment the enemy comes to confuse you. See, the enemy realizes if I can't use some people to criticize you, if I can't use some people to criticize you and to break that wall down with their mouth, I'm going to try to get into your head. If I can't get people to come against you and criticize you, if that doesn't work, I'm going to try to confuse you in your head. The moment you say you're going to stay pure is the moment That cutie with the booty. Can I be real? The moment you say, I'm going to be pure, is the moment that you don't want to be pure. Is the moment that the enemy is going to try to confuse that decision that you wanted to make. The moment you say, I'm going to work on my finances, is the moment that everywhere you go, there's a sale. The moment you say you're going to work on your marriage is the moment that all your friends and all your couple friends, they start talking about, yeah, I think I'm going to get a divorce. You need to get a divorce too. And that's the moment you say, I got to work and strive for my marriage, is going to be the moment you have 20 other voices saying you need to break up with your husband or your wife. The moment you say you're going to start digging deep into the word is the moment you get sleepy. The moment you say, I'm going to give God everything, this breakthrough. You are the God of the breakthrough. I'm going to give an extra thing, and then your air conditioning goes out. You say, I'm going to give God a special offering, and the enemy comes and specially blows up your transmission. See, the moment you say, I'm going to change, is the moment that the enemy wants to confuse you. And you start doing things, and the wall gets built halfway. And here's the thing, though. The enemy is okay with the wall being built halfway. Because if he couldn't get you to stop at the very beginning, he's going to try to get you when everything's halfway. So he's going to try to get you to commit to coming to church halfway. He's going to try to get you to commit halfway in your marriage. He's going to try to get you to play with your kids 2 times. He's going to try to get you to commit a life of halfway. And I'm tired of a life halfway, because a life halfway doesn't get me where I need to go. And a life halfway doesn't really see change happen. And a life halfway, come on, a life halfway is not a life that we were called to live. We were called to live a life all the way. We were called to live a life fully pursuing Jesus. We were called to live a life. If you're married, you're called to throw everything into that marriage. If God graced you with kids, then you are called to give everything to your kids. If he called you to a certain job, give everything. Don't just go halfway, because you won't see the change that you want to see if you just do it halfway. The moment you start to change is the moment the battle begins. Because the enemy knows if he can get you confused, you'll stop taking traction to gain positive motion. And it's interesting to me, they were enthusiastic when they started the change. But after the enemy came to confuse them is when it got hard. Because it's hard to carry on day by day when the enemy's in your head. But if you will commit to it, you can see real change happen. The enemy's goal is to confuse you. Because with new levels comes new challenges. You've heard it before, new levels, new devils. But that means you're progressing. And don't think of it as something like the world is coming against you and I don't know how I'm going to survive. I tried to give and my finances got worse. I tried to save my marriage, it got worse. My kids are acting crazy. No, see it that the enemy is trying to confuse you and you're almost there for next level living. That you're not getting, it's not next level visiting. See, that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to visit the next level and say, oh, here's some confusion, and you go back to that old level. No, this isn't next level visiting, it's next level living. So that means that once we step into that next level, we're going to learn to camp out here. We're going to learn to live here. We're not going to shrink back to that old level because we've been called to keep on going even when confusion comes. So we say we're on that next level. We're trying to build something. I want to see change happens. This next level, I'm going to work on my patience. then the enemy's going to try to confuse you in the middle of Walmart. That is the most impatient I've ever been, is in Walmart. You say, I want some patience. I need to work on my patience. I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to see change. I'm trying to live on the next level. And when you do that is the moment the enemy tries to confuse you. You say, this next level, I'm going to be generous. I'm going to be generous in this next level. And every person you're generous to doesn't say thank you. You say, this next level, I am going to be generous. I'm going to buy coffees for everybody at work. And you buy coffees for everybody at work, and not one person says thank you. I didn't know that you were doing it to hear a thank you. I thought you were doing it because you wanted to see change in your life. But the enemy is trying to come in and confuse the reason why you're doing things. You're not doing it for the pleasure of people. You're doing it because you want to see change in your life. And if you can commit to going past the confusion, you can see some real change. Number 3, you don't get change with comfort. You don't get change with comfort. My mom preached an awesome message one time that said, the title of it was, your comfort is your cage. Your comfort is your cage. See, change is going to be uncomfortable. That's the nature of change. And the reason it's uncomfortable is because we want a different byproduct, but we want to do the same thing. Did you catch what I said? We want a different byproduct, but we want to do the same thing. And that's why change is uncomfortable, because change requires change. It's a novel idea. And we have to realize that we're not going to be able to see change in our life if we keep doing the same things we've always done. Because this is next level living, not next level visiting. So to live on the next level, we have to be willing to get uncomfortable. See, I bet if we could talk to a butterfly, sounds like a poem, to talk to a butterfly. But I bet if we could talk to a butterfly, that he would say the change process from the cocoon to being able to fly is difficult. I bet in that process it's hard. But I don't want to live a life, I don't want to live my whole life in a cocoon. I want to be willing to get uncomfortable enough to see a change in my life so that I can fly. Getting healthy is uncomfortable. Getting your finances right are uncomfortable. Following Jesus is uncomfortable. I'm sorry if somebody told you it was unicorns and rainbows and you commit to Christ, your life will be easy. Now, I read in my Bible, there will be trials and tribulations, but take heart, for my Jesus has overcome the world. So if we can realize that our Jesus has conquered the entire world, he took over, that I will face trials and tribulations, but I can take heart because he's overcome the world, and that makes my uncomfortability a little easier. See, real change is not easy and countercultural. Bless those that curse you. Do good to those that despitefully use you. Submit to all authority. I don't like that. I want to punch people that curse me. I want to roll my eyes at authority. But that's not how I see change. I wish somebody would help me. That's not how we see change. We have to be willing to get uncomfortable. If you really want some change, but you want to be comfortable, you don't really want change. Because your comfort is what got you into trouble in the first place. Oh my goodness. Your comfort, living by your flesh, is what got you to compromise things in the first place. Your comfort is what hurt you in the first place. Ooh, this is good. Nehemiah 4:14 through 18 says this. Then as I looked over the situation, I called together the nobles and the rest of the people and said to them, don't be afraid of the enemy. Remember the Lord who is great and glorious. When the enemy first comes, we have to realize and we have to tell ourselves that our God is a glorious God, that our God is victorious. He's not some wimp up in heaven. He's a big God. He's a strong God, and He's victorious, and He has what's best for us. And so the first thing when the enemy comes, we have to realize is that our God is on our side. And I have to do some stuff. I have to take care of some stuff on my own. But at the end of the day, my God's got my back. And I can realize that we have a glorious God. We have a victorious God. And He's on my team. And fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. When our enemies heard that we knew of their plans and that God had frustrated them, we all returned to our work on the wall. When our enemies heard that we knew of their plans, we all returned to our work on the wall. Enemy comes, return to work. Enemy comes, return to work. Not enemy comes, complain about it. Not enemy comes, post about it on Facebook. Not enemy comes, moan about it. Enemy comes, return to work. When the enemy comes, you have to shake it off and get back to work. It says, but from then on, only half my men worked while the other half stood guard with spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. The leaders stationed themselves behind the people of Judah who were building the wall. Watch this. The laborers carried on their work with one hand, supporting their load, and on one hand holding a weapon. All the builders had a sword belted to their side. The trumpeters stayed with me to sound the alarm. They carried on with their work on one hand and they fought with the other. They worked with one hand and they fought with the other. They worked with one hand and they fought with the other. How many of you know that's uncomfortable? They were working on the wall with one hand and they were fighting the enemy off with the other. They were working on the wall with one hand and they were fighting the enemy off with the other. But how many of you know that so many of us want to either work or fight? We don't want to do both. See, it's the balance of doing what we have to do in the natural and fighting in the supernatural. It's saying, I got to do what I got to do. I got to go to work. I got to show up on time. I got to take care of my wife, take care of my kids. I got to be a good wife. I got to be a good mother. I got to do what I got to do, but at the same time, I'm fighting on the other side. It's not saying I'm just going to leave everything and just say, God, I hope you make the best of this mess, and Lord, I'm just really believing. No, belief comes with an action. So we have to work with one hand and fight with the other. We have to work to build something on one hand and fight with the other. We have to work to build and we have to work to help our marriage and fight the enemy off with the other. We have to work with our kids and play with our kids and fight the demonic suppression off of them with the other. We have to work at our job, but we're believing for a promotion in the other hand. We got to work with one hand and fight with the other. Work with one hand and fight with the other. I'm working on what I gotta do, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do, but I'm fighting the enemy off, that dirty devil, with the other hand. I'm working with one hand and I'm fighting with the other because I have a great God inside of me who loves me, who is victorious, who is glorious, and I'm working, I'm doing what I gotta do, and I'm fighting with my other hand. I'm working on my finances. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm doing what I got to do to get it right with one hand, but I'm believing God to bless me with this other hand. And I'm doing some spiritual warfare with this other hand. I'm working with one hand and I'm fighting with the other. And that's uncomfortable. It goes on to say this later. We carried our weapons with us at all times, even when we got water. We carried our weapons with us at all times, even when we got water. What is that saying? It's saying that you're ready to fight at all times. That's saying that when you pull out your phone to check an email, you're ready to fight when the enemy tries to pop up something on your phone. That's saying that whenever you go on a business trip, you're ready to fight whenever that colleague tries to compromise what you're trying to build. Come on, somebody. That means you're willing to fight at all times. That means on your way to church, you're ready to fight. That means when your kids are screaming in the back of the car and you're ready to cuss everybody out on the way to church, you're ready to fight. Because you're trying to build something. But building and fighting go hand in hand. You're ready. You're packing. No matter what the enemy throws at you, you're ready. But that's not comfortable. Last one, I'm ending with this. You don't get change without consistency. You don't get change without consistency. Because watch this, change comes in the moments you don't feel like it. Change comes in the moments, real change comes in the moments you don't feel like it. Can I be honest, I don't always feel like coming to church. Can a pastor say that? I don't always feel like praying. I don't always feel like reading my Bible. I don't always feel like working on the person that I need to become for my future wife, for my future children. I don't always feel like doing that. But change comes when you don't feel like it. Consistency is a sound that says we're gonna see a change even when we don't feel like it. It says this, so on October 2nd, the wall was finished just 52 days after we had begun. How did that happen? Because they were consistent and they went to work every day. You know what they did? It was glamorous. They put a rock on top of another rock. And then the next day they came and they put another rock on top of another rock. And then the next day they came and they put another rock on top of another rock. And I believe that we could see some real change if we were just willing to put a rock on top of another rock. We can see next level living. We can live there if we're willing to be consistent enough to put a rock on top of another rock. I'm going to pray when I don't feel like it. I'm going to go to church even when I don't feel like it. I'm going to keep on going when I don't feel like it. Because when I don't feel like it, I'm still moving and I'm still progressing. And I'm going to put a rock on top of another rock. Oh, look, the wall's built halfway. The enemy tries to confuse me. I'm still going to put a rock on top of another rock and a rock on top of another rock. And I'm going to be consistent enough to see some change. Ah! We can work until we don't feel like it anymore. Or we can work until the work is done. We can work until we don't feel like it anymore. Or we can work till the work is done. God's not looking for part-time workers. He's looking for full-time builders. He's not looking for part-time workers. He's looking for full-time builders. And I believe if we could say, you know what, I'm going to be consistent in the things that I need to be consistent in. And I'm going to put a rock on top of another rock. I'm going to put a rock when I go to work, and I'm going to put a rock in my marriage. I'm going to keep on, because I'm trying to build something. We could see a change. We just have to make sure that we're being consistent in the things that matter. That we're building something for the things that truly matter. Because I believe we're all consistent in this room. Sometimes we're just consistent in things that don't matter. And I'm speaking to myself too, but sometimes we're consistent in doubt. we're consistent in fear. We're putting fear on top of fear, anger on top of anger, strife on top of strife. But if we say, you know what? I'm building something, but I'm building something on the rock that truly matters, Jesus, the cornerstone, then we can see change that will truly affect our entire lives for the better. And we say, we're building on this cornerstone, Jesus, on this rock, this solid rock, we will stand, we will build, we can see it, and we can see change come to things that truly matter. So if I could pray for you this morning. Father, I thank you for change. I thank you for next level living. And I thank you that we're not just going to visit, that we're going to live there. We're going to live on the next level. And we're going to see change in our lives. We're going to go past the criticism. When people try to criticize us for changing, when people try to criticize the church we go to, when people try to criticize our family for making the choices we need to make, when people criticize us, we're going to keep on going because we're going to see some change and we're trying to build something. Father, I thank you that we would see change even when it's not comfortable, even when it's challenging, that we would see a change that truly matters because we're building something on the solid rock.